get federal and state tax ID numbers.
Please do this.
So,
please be legit.
yes.
Please don't take the money from the register and just put it in your pocket. Please. Get an EIN number.
And we're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. My name is Jessica Johnson-Coe.
I'm Waleed.
Hey, Waleed, what's good?
Trying to make heads or tails of these notes and fix somebody's phone at the same time. But besides that, life's good.
Life is grand. And in preparation for 2022.
How many days away are we from the end of the year?
Well, today is December 15th. That means it's 16
How many days?
years.
31 in
years. 16 days left in the year.
What are you doing before January 2020? Some of you are already sitting on the sideline talking about the year's over. You should be pushing hard this last 16 days for 2021. The year's not over yet. You still got time to take the crumbs. You got time to get the bag. You got time to get the lunch from your competitors. Not even take their lunch. You got time to leave to get the stuff that they left on the table because they just not paying attention. These 16 days is crucial. People are going to be kicking their feet up for the holidays. Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. They're going to be kicking their feet up, taking it back. This is an opportunity for you to pounce like the cat on the mouse. Get it. What you were saying, Johnson.
So we understand that sometimes what we talk about is based on where our businesses are. So we wanted to take a few steps back today and start with business basics. For everybody in Commerce and Chill land who may be interested in starting a business, we wanted to walk you through 10 steps to start your business in 2022. So you can know what the steps are. You can create a plan, and come January 1st, you can execute, or as Cope said, pounce. Like I just got a message
on a mouse through my website. Individual, hit me up. I got your message. I'm going to send you a message back between today and tomorrow. I didn't forget about you. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I want to start a laundry business. I want to know why you got into the business. What's the pros and cons, etc. Like, this is the time. Like, that thing you've been thinking about, that idea, what are you waiting for? Mm-hmm. You know, shout out to my man, AD, the Vintage Panther. We had this hardcore discussion couple weeks ago, and next thing you know, I look up on his platform, he's got photos, he's got product up, and boom, he's making sales. I didn't think he had like 3 sales already like that fast for some high ticket items. And we were just talking about like roadblocks, things that prevent us from doing. Like, we keep thinking about it instead of taking action. So take action on this thing that you want to do. Don't wait. Somebody told me, shout out to my girl Cheryl, who told me she's waiting to January 1st to launch the new website. Why? Why not launch it tomorrow? Why wait?
Why not launch it today? Why wait? So, to level set, let me give you some context.
Put it on blast. Sorry, Cheryl.
According to Indeed for Employers, in 2019, there were approximately 30.7 million small businesses in the United States. Starting a small business can be one of the most exciting ventures you may ever embark on. Trust. That's true. But a lot can go wrong if you don't take the right steps. Today, we're going to tell you what those right steps are. In fact, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, shout outs to our friends at BLS, 20% of businesses don't make it past the first 2 years, and only 55% last 5 years. So let's put that in a positive light. 80% of businesses make it past the first 2 years. We want to help you be in that 80%.
The number gets higher as the longer you stay in business. We had this discussion before.
Numbers that fail go higher.
Yeah, the failure rate gets higher the longer people stay in business.
But the same thing happens with their age, right? That fewer people make it to 100 than make it to 2.
Speak for yourself. I'm breaking 100.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general.
What is this, episode 102?
Yes.
Make note of in episode 102, I'm breaking 100. And not going to be breaking 100 like, oh, guess what? I'm 100. Yeah, I'm going to be 100. And you're going to be like, yo, that dude is still full of fire. He's out of control. And I'm going to be more reckless the older I get. Because you notice the older people get to say stuff and they get a pass. Like, people just be like, oh, yeah, that's grandpa. That's grandma. They get a pass. Like, I'm going to be super reckless. Wait till you see like episode 399 of the podcasts. Oh no, wait.
399,000 maybe?
Yeah, 399,000. And be like, this dude is still bringing the fire. Only difference is his hair's all white. But besides that, he's still bringing the fire.
So bringing the fire, my fire starts with the words that we use and choose. So according to Merriam-Webster, the word business has 3 meanings. One is the activity of making, buying, or selling goods or providing services in exchange for money. So that's a commonplace definition. Number 2 is work that is a part of a job. I'm just going to leave that on the side of the road. And number 3 is the amount of activity that is done by a store, company, factory, etc. We're going to talk about starting a business, the planning that's involved in making key financial decisions, in addition to taking the correct legal actions to start your business. So according to the Small Business Administration chief, what's the first step to start a business?
They say conduct market research. That's what they have. Conduct market research.
You say that as if you don't believe them.
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't believe them. I think you should do some type of market research, but I think a lot of times in small business, people hear this conduct market research, or you need to know who your target audience is or who your avatar is. There's all these different terminologies. And you get kind of overwhelmed. You think you got to do something that's really super sophisticated to do this market research. And it's really not that complicated. Like,
not at all.
You're selling, I don't know, chocolate covered bacon bits in your neighborhood. You could simply like go on the corner with a piece of paper and you like ask people like, do you like chocolate? Do you like bacon? What would you think if somebody put them together and made a snack? And they're like, that's interesting. And you just check it off on the list. And you like they do with those exit polls that somehow miraculously predict the elections. They do these exit polls to say who's winning and who's in. You go somewhere and you collect this data. It doesn't have to be something super sophisticated. It could be someone just asking people questions. It could be you get an email list from somewhere that in the neighborhood you want to put the business, and you email all these people and hopefully they respond, or you put some phone number out somewhere on some billboards or some signs.
Internet. You can put a poll up on Facebook.
Right. You could do a poll on Facebook. Yeah. You could have a SMX survey, do it on Twitter. It doesn't have to be super complicated.
The key is that you find information about your potential clients and customers. And you can use businesses that are already in place as a benchmark as to what can potentially work and what won't work. Just do something so that you have information to back the decision.
And don't let your market research be like the people in your house. Like you need your family members. You need to get the data from people
who are going to spend the real money.
Who are going to spend money.
Yeah.
And let's not get confused. I had this discussion with a relative who was starting a business not too long ago. And they were like, yeah, look, I made like 20, 30 sales, Waleed. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, like I'm happy for you. And
you told that story before.
I didn't want to crush their enthusiasm. And I was just like, so those first 30 sales, like who were they? And they told me who it was. And I was like, those are people who know you or related to you. Those are humble sales. That's people who are going to buy stuff from you when you first start out because either they want to support you like in some kind of way. That's not your target audience more than likely. Like there might be some of your family members who are going to buy your product or service on a routine, some type of regular basis, but that's not your target audience. Those are humble sales, people who are just buying them to support you, or maybe they even feel sorry for you because you haven't sold anything. Who are the people that you don't know that are total strangers that interact with your product or your service, and then they buy it and continue to buy it?
Right. So number 2 is write your business plan. Your business plan is the foundation of your business. It's the roadmap to the structure, how you run and grow your new business. You may also need to have a business plan if you intend to ask for outside funds. So Chief, quick take on business plan.
I think you should have something written down. But again, I'm going to go with the same thing I said about the market research. It doesn't have to be, you mentioned in the last episode, you talked about the growth plan and how we had this document that was like, I don't know, 70 pages in a binder, and it was like mad thick. And it was like, it's slightly impressive when you look at it. But when I look back at it and say like, what was the action? What happened? Like we did a lot of those things, but I'm like, we could have probably put that on like 10 sheets of paper, hung it up on a wall so it's looking at me on a regular basis so I could keep acting on it. to me, I think it's more important where you write it out. And then, like, you know, you got some complicated business that you're going to be building. I get it. Like, you might have to sketch out some more details. But I'm like, make the framework, get the details, and put it somewhere we're going to see it. I bet you if we took a poll, we did market research on business plans, I bet you there's hella people out there who did a business plan and that joint is sitting on the shelf collecting dust. Right. And I bet you there's another group of people who have businesses that are successful. My girl, Christoph Davis.
Shout out to Chanel.
We was
Nola.
DMing and she was like, yeah, Waleed, like I've been in business like up 10 years and I'm just getting around to writing a business plan. Because whatever it is, she needs to do it for the next level or whatever she's doing. And a lot of times you might need, like you mentioned, you might need that business plan to go pitch somebody for funding, or to pitch somebody to join your team, to become a co-founder with you, or to become a partner. So I'm not saying they're not important. I would say really think about the level of specificness. Specificity
that you need.
In the development. Like, what is it, Herb Keller, the Southwest Airlines?
He wrote on a napkin.
He wrote it on a napkin when they were drinking.
A cocktail napkin.
A cocktail napkin, which is like yay big. And he came up with the whole hub and spoke model for Southwest. And I would,
Dare say
I would
sale
check
price
out.
is doing okay.
I would check out the story behind Southwest. There's a lot of business lessons to learn and what they did and how they did it.
I would dare say at the Soapbox, we didn't have a business plan initially.
I still we kind of have
recently
one. Hamlet and Espinoza put some fly, funky thing together.
We recently did a pitch deck, which is basically a
graphical version of the business plan, right? Very visual. Let me put it that way.
For where we're taking the Soapbox to the next level, how we plan on taking.
Because we had to pitch some people who want to. We had to pitch one group of people to be in a program, and then there's another group of people looking at it who want to invest in it. So you need to have that business plan to show them the vision, because you can't just sit there and tell people. Like, you can't lecture them. A lot of people are not going to be able to envision it. They're not going to get it. But I tell you one thing: whatever your idea is, if it can't be explained to a 10-year-old and they understand it to a certain degree, you need to figure out a better way to disseminate that information. Because if you're just rambling and talking and people are looking at you, versus if it's something in writing or something visual that they can comprehend and they can go through it and really grasp it, it's going to have a way better impact on the audience that you're trying to convey that information to with your business plan. So the business plan too depends on, why are you crafting it? If you're doing it for yourself, it could be on a cocktail napkin, or with your partner, and you're like scribble it on some chart paper. Like, look at the dudes who did compact computers. That's a gangster story. The computer company grew every year routinely until they got near the end, where some things got a little crazy when they were, founders left and they were swapping out key executive, et cetera, et cetera. But they had record growth repeatedly. They were crushing it at that time. They all met in a diner and used, back in the day, if you know, when they used to have the paper placemats on the table, and they flipped it over and they sketched out the first design of the first compact computer, which is basically a big box with a little screen and a keyboard that flipped down, and people would carry them on a plane and be like portable computers. And it was like unheard of at that time. So like, it could be on anything. They drew it on the back of a placemat.
Well, you talked about the Soapbox has people who are interested in investing. Number 3, fund your business, and business plan helps you figure out, as you thinking through what to include in your business plan. You also should think through how much money you're going to need to run your business.
And whatever that number is, you think,
and run your business.
Whatever the number is you think you need, double it. I'm just telling you now, whatever the number you think you need, 2x it at a minimum, because it's going to be a ton of unforeseen things depending on what type of business you're building. Like if you have a retail location, like brick and mortar, et cetera, versus if you strictly online, or maybe you're building some SaaS product. Now you need people to develop the app, or you need engineers, whatever the case might be. Whatever you factor, I'm telling you, for the first go around, double it.
And
if you're not familiar,
I encourage you to reach out to your local SBDC, which stands for Small Business Development Center, or even to your personal banker and ask for an introduction to a business banker, because they can talk you through some of the ideas and concepts you need to cover.
Or talk to other people in the industry. So I'm going to use laundry, for example. If you want to open up a physical laundromat, you should develop a relationship with the distributors. because they have tons of business models and data on how much it's going to cost for you to build out a store, typically per square foot, depending on what type of design you want to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So tap into the people who are out there in that industry that you're looking to get to already. And you don't even have to really go to other people who are in the industry, AKA who could be your competitors, someone who's already doing it. You can go to the people who supply them, and they can provide you with a ton of information and end up being your suppliers, down the road.
The next number 4 thing to do if you're starting a business is to pick your location. Now, whether you have a brick and mortar location or you have an online presence, location matters. What I say, it's all in real estate. It's all about location. So even if you operate an online store,
your domain is your location.
But
you don't want to have pinkfuzzytoeslippers.com.
Unless that's what you sell.
It's going to be a little hard for somebody to type that out. You need to think of something that's going to be a little shorter so you could get people right to the domain faster.
So when it comes to geographic location,
Pink toes.
We were talking earlier today with Queensboro President Donovan Richards, and he was talking about some of the steps that he's taking to provide resources to his constituents, especially small business owners. And there are some geographies, some neighborhoods, some cities, some states, some countries that are more business friendly. And so you want to understand
even cities,
what the opportunity is versus the challenge in where you choose to locate your business. So number 4, pick a location for your business, whether it's online or brick and mortar. Number 5, choose a business structure. The legal structure that you pick for your business will impact the tax implications. It'll impact regulatory requirements.
Etymology.
It may also impact your personal liability. So we are not legal professionals. We are not accounting professionals. We recommend that you talk to legal and accounting professionals to help understand what's the best business structure for your planned business in 2022. And you probably heard us talk about this in the previous episodes, but if you're going to go to trusted advisors in a specific area, if you're going to a lawyer, a divorce lawyer may not be able to provide you the best insight when it comes to owning and operating a business. So make sure whomever you consult has a sufficient amount of knowledge and expertise around the business and small business space so that they can advise you properly. All right, number 6, choose a business name. Don't sleep on this, right? We got kind of lucky with the soapbox because we actually went through an exercise where we wrote out different names. We ideated, we brainstormed. We had some Post-it notes, and we would say a name, write it down, and stick it up on the wall. Some of those Post-it notes fell off the wall. That's when we knew that wasn't a name for the business. And there were a handful of names left up there. And in the end, we stuck with the soapbox. Now, granted, there are other soapboxes out there, but I think for what we do, the soapbox rocks out really well. But you want to make sure that you pick a name that reflects your brand, that reflects the spirit of the business that you want to have. And you want to double check to make sure that it's available. So if it's available within your city, your state.
Don't be like me.
But it also has to make sense to the consumer, to your prospective client.
You kind of want it, but at the same time, I'm kind of 50-50 on this. The name is important, but at the same time,
for contradiction. Go ahead.
You can make the name. What is a Google? Like, what is it?
It's something with a couple of zeros. Like there's a definition for a
right,
Google.
But you would not equate that to, when you hear that word, to something to go search on the internet. You're not going to equate it to a search engine. If you hear you Bing, I'm like search engine. I'm just like Bing. Like I'm thinking like somebody.
I think it's like a ping ball.
Right,
game.
Somebody hit something, or it's some kind of alert or something.
Do they have any users?
I listen. I don't know, but Microsoft is still pretty gangster. Whether Bing didn't work. Look at Amazon. Was it the Fire Phone or what it was?
I'll just say this.
But look at everything else they're doing, to the moon.
On the way to the office, we got a call. Someone was soliciting for some service they were selling. Do you have 30 seconds? I want to tell you about our company. Blah, blah, blah.
No, I don't have 30 seconds.
So he told me whatever he was trying to do. I was not impressed. And it's like, no, thank you. That's not what we want to do. And then he's like, okay, well, if you think you're interested, then just go to our website. And then.
What was their website? Like cockadoodle.com, buy this thing?
That was the name of the company.
Oh.
And the name of the company is a common word, but they had an uncommon spelling for it.
So it was like paperclip, and they spelled it like PAPIR clip, like
something like that.
CLQ for clip,
right? Like imagine if somebody went to spell chocolate like CKOLUT,
or spell chocolate with a K. Like, and I get it. Like, you kind of want to be original, stand out, but
at the same time,
Johnson,
if you're that original, nobody can remember.
You bring up a valid point, and that's one thing. Like, we didn't struggle with, but it was like super important for me when we came up with the name. Like, like when we do social media handles and other things, like I am so against like underscores and periods and all that, because when you tell somebody it or someone reads it, let's just put it in this scenario. You put something on a billboard, which I'm not a huge fan of billboards, but they do serve a purpose. You put something about your business on a billboard. Person is in a car, they're walking by, they're on a bike, they're on the train, whatever, and they've got X amount of seconds to consume what's there. And if you've got some complicated URL or some complicated social media handle, what is the chances of them absorbing that information in those couple seconds that they have to look at this billboard, grasp it, and then when they go whip out their device as the vehicle moves on or as they move on, to type it in and find it. If it becomes a struggle for them to find you, trust me, they're going to give up after like a few seconds. Like, unfortunately, our attention span and our stick-to-itness is not what it used to be, because the technology we have today has put us in a place where we want stuff given to us really fast, quickly. So you want to make it so they can get to it. You want to eliminate friction.
Yeah.
Friction.
So choose a good
eliminate
name. Number 7, register your business. So, for example, our businesses are located in New York State. We are registered as domestic businesses, meaning in the state, businesses within New York State. Now, there are a lot of people that tell you go get
Delaware,
whatever.
Like, I don't
know anything about that. I can't tell you about that. Ask an attorney, ask an accountant, whatever.
I don't know, but I live in New York, and right now my small business, medium-sized business is in New York.
The likelihood is very high that wherever your business's primary location is, you will need to register. So talk to the Small Business Development Center about how that happens.
And I'm sure there are plenty of benefits of being in Delaware.
And in compliance.
But does that really apply to what your business is about to do or doing? So, just look at everything. Look at the details.
All right. Number 8, get federal and state tax ID numbers.
Please do this.
So
please be legit.
Yes.
Please don't take the money from the register and just put it in your pocket. Please get an EIN number so you could build some business history and credit.
Number stands for employer.
DUNS, do some of that too.
Identification number. Now these are for tax purposes.
Pay your taxes.
These are for tax purposes.
Legally.
These are for tax purposes. So
get a good accountant.
Make sure that you get your federal and state tax IDs. In some instances, your state tax ID number will be the same number as your federal EIN number.
And if you're depending if you're doing it as yourself or a sole proprietor, it could be a social security number also, depending how you're running your business, how you have it set up. So just be mindful of it. But you should register, especially if you're bringing on employees. You have to have these things in place because you have to do reporting for compliance reasons. And the last thing you want is the state or the feds showing up in your mailbox, sending you documentation talking about you didn't do something right, or they want to go through all your financials and audit you, and then you didn't have all these things in place. Like there's a lot of little things that go with it that are tied to these numbers for your business, like
if you want to open a business banking account, you're going to need an EIN number. Just think of it. It's your business's social security number. And
some of you are like, hey, identity. I'm just going to open up. I'm going to make this money. And listen, I'm not going to say this part now because that comes up later on. But you need to keep things separate. Once you decide to become a business, you and the business are two separate entities.
You know how they talk about the separation of church and state?
Keep it that way.
There's a separation of business and self.
Okay.
You are not your business. Your business is not you.
They are told, and the purpose of incorporating is so it can shield you from whatever is going on in that entity. And you start commingling funds and things of that nature, you have just pierced the corporate veil.
That's a whole nother episode. Number 9, which is number 10 on our list, but you don't see it, is open a business bank account. If you plan to collect money, if you plan to pay out money, and you're probably gonna have to pay out money before you collect money, have a business bank account.
Do not commingle funds. Do not put your business funds in your personal account. Did I say that? Do not put your business funds in your personal account. Do not take money from the business and put it directly into your personal account. If you want to take a distribution, talk to your accountant, whoever your financial person is, and figure out, how do you write that check? How do you do that transfer? What do you put in the memo section so everything is documented properly? You just don't go and say, "Hi, I'm going to transfer a couple $1,000s from my business account right into my personal account." Like,
you can
you do that? Yeah, you can. Is it a wise thing to do?
You setting yourself up for failure.
No.
And number 10.
Apply for license and permits.
Yes.
So like in the laundry business here in New York City, there's this agency called DCA, Department of Consumer Affairs. A lot of businesses have to register with them. Retail business, you have to get a license through Consumer Affairs, depending on the type of business you have. It is super important you have these, because you don't want an inspector showing up to your business. Or you might say, "Oh, I'm online, Waleed. They're never going to know, blah, blah, blah." They know. They can find out. Trust me, you're on the internet, right? They can find you. And you're not on the dark web and doing some shady stuff. You're running a legit business online. You're doing payments through some kind of card processing, through PayPal or whomever. There is a trail. There is something that shows you need to have these permits. You do not want any of these agencies walking into your business. 1, you don't want them shutting you down.
No.
2, you don't want any fines.
Exactly.
It's better to do the research. Like in New York City, they have small business services, and I'm sure they have it in other cities and states too. You go to New York City's website, and you can go there, and it walks you through, like, "Oh, I want to start this type of business," and you click, and it walks you through. You need these licenses, or you need these type of permits. You need this, and like, I know it's a headache, and sometimes it's a lot of hurdles to jump through. But once you get it done, your biggest hurdle is just making sure you renew them. And a lot of times, the renewal process is not that painful. But I'll tell you one thing: it's way more painful not to have it. And they come. And I'm talking from experience, because I let one of our licenses expire one time, not paying attention, looked up on the wall, and I was like, "Damn, it expired." And before I could get it renewed, some inspector walked through the door and was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And let me tell you something. When they come, I don't care how right you are, how wrong they are, how wrong you are, how right they are. You better be nice. Because remember, they're a person doing a job. Be humble, give them what they ask for. And a lot of times you'll probably have a better outcome from them than you be the one that's all walking around or with a toot and with a spur up your butt, right? Be nice. They're doing their job. Now, I'm sure some of them are out there, they're going to come bust your hump, and they're always looking for stuff. Listen, deal with it. Because at the end of the day, they have the upper hand. They can put fines on you. They can get your business padlocked, and then you lose in that game.
We know a little bit about entrepreneurship. We want you to know a little bit about entrepreneurship. And if you keep coming back to Commerce and Chill, that's exactly what you will get.
You get a little bit every time. That little bit will turn into a whole lot. Improve 1% every day. Before you know it, you're at 100%.
And we're over 100 episodes, and hopefully, are we over 200?
How many subscribers we got?
Yet? 190. And on that note, I'm out.
197. Come on, people.
This has
please.
been Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope. And that's Waleed. He's Flatline.